Hello friends, I am Professor D.T. Kashid. Let me welcome you all in the lecture series for AMVI Mains examination, a complete guide. Today we are going to talk about sources of energy. This is first point from the syllabus of thermal engineering module. So let us start with the introduction. As we know that we use different forms of energy in our daily life. For example, we use heat energy to cook food, then electric energy to run TV, refrigerator, mechanical energy to walk, also chemical energy to run our vehicles. And to get this energy, we need a source like heat energy to cook food. It is coming from burning the LPG gas in our home. So LPG is an energy source. Take another one more example. Electrical energy to run TV. It comes from the power plant. The power plant can be hydroelectric, that is generated from the water, or thermal, it is generated from coal or solar. Another example, mechanical energy to walk comes from the our body. Okay, and chemical energy to run vehicles comes from the burning petrol. So energy comes from different sources. Energy comes from different sources. We can say that some sources are conventional or non-conventional. Okay, so let us discuss the classification of energy sources. Now, based on traditional use, energy sources are classified into two. One is the conventional and non-conventional, and also based on long-term availability, energy sources are classified as renewable and non-renewable. So let us talk about the conventional. Conventional sources of energy means those sources which we have been using since a long while, like burning coal, wood. Okay. Now, about non-conventional sources of energy means those sources which are newly discovered, which we have just started using. Okay, like wind energy, solar energy, nuclear energy. Okay, so there are also other bases of classification like this renewable and renewable, non-renewable sources. Renewable energy sources are those sources of energy which can be renewed naturally over a time. They are inexhaustible. Okay, please note that this point. Okay, for example, solar energy. Solar energy comes from directly from the sun, and sunlight is not exhausted anytime. Okay, another example, wind energy. When we use wind energy, it wouldn't be get finished on using. So wind energy is renewable. Okay, so this wind energy also renewable. Again, if you take the example of hydro energy, we use water stored in the dams to generate electricity. Since water is renewed by nature via water cycle, so hydro energy is renewable. Okay, and also since these renewable energy sources will never get exhausted, so they are called inexhaustible sources of energy. Getting? Now let us talk about non-renewable energy sources. Non-renewable sources of energy are those sources which are available in limited quantity. They cannot be renewed in a short period or short duration. Okay, for example, fossil fuels like coal, petroleum gas will be exhausted, okay, very soon, and it will. Okay, again we have the example of natural nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is formed from uranium, which is limited in supply, so it is a non-renewable source of energy. Okay, and also since non-renewable source of energy will get exhausted someday, they are called exhaustible sources of energy. Okay, getting? So let us learn more about the conventional energy sources. As we know that conventional sources of energy are those sources of energy which we have been using for a long time. Okay, for example, fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, natural gas. Okay, we burn them to produce heat. Also wood, we used to burn wood to produce the heat. Okay, so let us discuss them one by one. Start with the fossil fuels. We burn fossil fuels like coal and petroleum to generate heat and electricity. Correct. So let us look at the advantages and disadvantages of using fossil fuels. Advantage is that since we have been using fossil fuels for our energy requirements, our technologies like car, train have been made by using fossil fuels as a fuel. Correct. So this is a advantage. Disadvantages of using fossil fuels are fossil fuels were formed millions of years ago and there are only limited reserves left. If we keep using fossil fuels at this rapid rate, then it will run out very soon. Again, burning of fossil fuels causes harm to environment and it leads to phenomena like acid rain, global warming. In addition to using fossil fuels to run our cars and bikes, we also use it to generate electricity, that we know that. So electricity generated by these fossil fuels is generated in a thermal power plant. So let us discuss the thermal power plant. Okay, here I have shown the block diagram of thermal power plant. You can see in thermal power plant what happened, we burn coal or petroleum to produce heat. Then this heat is used to convert water into steam. Then that steam rotate the turbine and that turbine will convert the mechanical energy to electrical or electric energy. That means we get the electricity. Correct. So this is about the usage of fossil fuels in the thermal power plant. Now let us discuss the non-conventional energy sources. As we know that our energy requirements are increasing as our standard of living is increasing. In order to fulfill our energy requirements, we are trying to improve the efficiency of existing sources of our energy. Okay, as well as we are trying to exploit new sources of energy. Correct. So another reason to look for these new sources of energy is because our conventional sources of energy like fossil fuels will get exhausted very soon. So these new energy sources are called non-conventional sources of energy. Correct. For example, okay, here I have shown the some examples of these non-conventional sources of energy. Solar energy. Okay, using sun rays to generate the heat, we generate the heat and electricity. Also hydroelectric power plant, in that we are converting water at height into electricity. Then biomass, we used to use cow dung and other agriculture waste as a fuel for the biomass. Then wind turbine or wind energy, windmills rotate to generate the electricity, that we know that. Also energy from the sea, that means the tidal energy, wave energy, ocean thermal energy. We have the another source, that is geothermal energy, also nuclear energy. So these are the examples of the non-conventional energy sources. Let us look at them one by one. Okay, so we'll discuss the solar energy. Now this solar energy is the energy generated from the sun's radiation. Okay, sun has been radiating energy for last 5 billion years and will continue to do so for the next 5 billion years also. So solar energy is a renewable source of energy. The earliest uses of solar energy was we know that is solar cooker. Okay, so solar cooker is a box. You can see in the slide also, on the slide also. Okay, solar cooker is a box which is painted black. It is painted black so as to absorb the heat. Okay, it has a glass sheet also. Okay, at a top you can see, and there is a outer layer which consists of mirror. When in use, a blow of rice is kept inside the glass sheet. The mirror reflects the sun rays on the bowl, and due to black paint inside, the cooker absorb the heat, and since there is a glass sheet over above, the heat does not escape, okay, due to greenhouse effect. So sun rays are converted into heat in this solar cooker. Okay, let us look at the how we use solar energy. Okay, solar energy is used to produce electricity also. Okay, so solar energy is converted into the electricity using solar cells. Okay, so solar cells is a device which converts solar energy into electricity. Okay, and solar cells develop a voltage of 0.5 to 1 volt and produce 0.7 watt of electricity. Since single solar cell produce a small amount of electricity, we combine them, and a large number of solar cells are combined to produce a solar cell panel. You can see in the diagram also. Okay, so we know that the Chinnaswamy Cricket Stadium is in Bangalore, so that is powered by the solar energy. Okay, so that is a nice example of this solar energy to produce the electricity. Now let us highlight the advantages of using solar cells. So first advantage is that solar cells have no moving parts. Solar cells requires little maintenance only. They can be set up in remote places where laying a power transmission line might be expensive or not commercially viable. Okay, so we can use solar energy to produce the electricity. Now there are some disadvantages of using solar cells. First disadvantage is that availability of special grade silicon which is used for making solar cells is limited. Okay, another, manufacturing solar cells is expensive. Okay, silver is used for joining the cells in the panel, which makes the panel more expensive. So this care we have to take. Let us highlight the uses of solar cells. Now in artificial satellites and the space probes, we use solar cells as a main source of energy. Also radio wireless transmission system, TV relay stations also use solar cell panels. Okay, solar cells is used to produce electricity in remote areas where electricity transmission lines are not possible. This is a important applications of solar cells. Okay, now let us discuss the another non-conventional source of energy, that is hydroelectric power plant. Now hydroelectricity is a non-conventional source of energy. Please note this. Earlier we used flowing water to generate electricity, but using dams to generate electricity is a new concept. Thus hydroelectric energy is a non-conventional source of energy. We generate hydroelectric energy using hydroelectric power plant. So hydroelectric power plant, I have shown the schematic diagram here. Okay, on the slide you can see hydroelectric power plant are used where water is at a height, and in hydroelectric power plant, potential energy of the water at a height that is converted into the mechanical energy by rotating the turbines, and this mechanical energy is further converted into electrical energy. And to put the water at a height, we use dams, correct, and dams are formed in a river to stop their flow and keep it at a height, correct. So This is simple idea about the hydroelectric power plant. Let us discuss the advantages of using hydroelectric power plant. The first advantage is that the generation of electricity from hydroelectric power plant does not cause any pollution. Important advantage. Then, since water in the dams will get filled by itself due to rain, so it is a renewable source of energy. Also, the construction of dams help in controlling floods and providing irrigation also. So this is also important advantage. Let us discuss disadvantages of using hydroelectric power plant also. So first disadvantage is that dams can only be constructed in specific number of places like hilly terrains, correct. Then large area of agriculture and human land is submerged under water. Then vegetation which is submerged under water roots is anaerobic conditions, okay, which leads to generation of huge amount of methane, correct. So methane is a greenhouse gas, that we know that. So there is a problem of proper displacement of people also who are living in the area near the dam, okay. And due to construction of dam, the fish in the area downstream of the dam do not get enough nutrient and the production of fish may decrease. So these are the some disadvantages of using hydroelectric power plant. Let us talk about the biomass. Okay. So biomass means what? Fuels made from the plant and animal product is known as biomass. Okay. For example, wood, cow dung. Okay. So these fuels do not produce much heat during the burning and gives out lot of smoke when they are burned. So just burning wood and cow dung are not enough for our energy requirement. Thus technological advancements are made to improve the efficiency of these fuels. Now if you go for the burning of wood in a limited supply of oxygen, then water and other volatile metals inside it get removed and charcoal is left behind as a residue. So charcoal is a better fuel than the wood because it has higher heat generation efficiency. Also charcoal burns without flames and gives out less smoke as compared to burning of wood. Similarly, to improve efficiency of cow dung, we converted it into biogas, correct. So biogas, we know that it's working and principle. Now for better understanding purpose, I have shown this picture. You can see the sources of biomass, okay. You can take agriculture crops and residues, then forest crops and residues, then sewage, then municipal solid waste, animal residues, then industrial residues. So these all are the sources of biomass, correct. Now there may be one small question in your mind, whether this biomass is renewable or non-renewable. Okay, biomass is a renewable source of energy, as we can always grow more crops and trees, and waste material which is needed to create biomass will always be there. So biomass is renewable source of energy. Please note this. Let us take a highlight on the advantages of biomass. The first advantage is that the materials used to produce biomass are infinite. Thus it is a renewable source of energy. Again, it is less expensive than fossil fuels. It produces an excellent fuel which can burn without smoke, and it reduces the amount of garbage dumped in the landfills, okay. And there are disadvantages of this biomass. First is that it is not as a energy efficient as burning fossil fuel. Also it is not entirely clean, okay. While biomass does not produce carbon dioxide, on burning, then it produces methane, which is harmful to our Earth's ozone layer. Okay, this care also we have to take.